Folks, we are out here with the TSA floater from J&H Aerospace. We're going to attempt to do some trimming with this airplane. I'm going to tell you the conditions are far from ideal. It's windy, but on the other hand, some of you are going to struggle to have a good flying site to fly in. So this will give you some idea of what you're facing in outdoor flying and hopefully motivate you that you need to find a good indoor site. This is the elastic launch glider launcher from J&H Aerospace. I have the protractors removed because we're not going to use them because you're not allowed them in competition, because this is not the exact launcher you'll be using. But it does have the marks on it, and the TSA launchers will have some sort of scale as well. And what we're going to do is we will take a number 19 rubber band. I'm going to fit it through little loop here.
Hold on.
You're too far away. It's not going to focus though. There we go. Alright, so what we're going to do is we'll pull it through like that and try to take as much slack out as possible, because this is since this is thicker than the little eyelet they're going to use, that kind of shortens up the rubber band a little bit, so be prepared for that. Another alternative is you could buy an eyelet and screw it into the bottom. But this is a fairly good approximation. And I don't remember what the exact limit. I think you're not allowed to pull past like 30 centimeters or something. For low ceiling, you're not going to need that. Now, you think, well, okay, well, let's go ahead and start catapulting it. That's not what you want to do with one of these. First, you got to make sure it glides. Now, from our build video, you saw me take it up to the point of gliding and whatnot. Unfortunately, I took the airplane outside and gave it a test launch and put it up on our roof. And it is now interestingly warped in the wingtips. And I tried getting some of that out, and most of it came back. So trimming will be interesting today. And it's also windy. All right, let me try that again. Small, light airplane in a breeze. And it is stalling. So we're going to add some nose weight. So I'm taking a piece of clay, stick it on the nose, and we'll try again. Now, you will notice the airplane is just staying into the wind. We don't want that. We want it to turn a little bit, so I'm going to give it some right rudder here. And it's starting to turn a little. We'll throw it a little harder. Okay, there we go. That's what we want to see. I'm actually going to take some of that rudder trim out because the plane's going to try to flip over on launch otherwise. And everything looks good. So if we look at the front, we're kind of twisted out that way, not as much on this wing, so that makes it want to roll this way. We've got rudder fighting that, pulling it around. So this roll trim prevents the airplane from rolling over. It kind of slides around. So let's put it on the catapult, just as a huge wind gust arrives, of course. I'm going to pull back 20 centimeters. And that looks, launch was good. Alright, so what we saw there was the airplane kind of came up and around. It did transition well into the glide, you know, it didn't lose any altitude there, but we don't want that big of a pitch up, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the trailing edge of the horizontal tail here. I'm going to bend in some down elevator. If you remember, I made a little slit here so I could do that. And let's give it a hand toss. and it's still pitching up a little too much. So I'm going to bend some more down in here. Still too much. So I'm going to go over on this side and I'm going to bend even more in. Better, much better. All right, we'll pull back 20 centimeters again. Okay, all right, still pitching up a little bit and it needs to be pulled back further. So I'm going to bend in some more down elevator in the horizontal tail. And we'll go back to 25 centimeters. And I have no idea what just happened because try that once more. I'm going to go all the way back to 30 centimeters here. You notice I'm tilting it over a little. There we go. Nice glide. Very nice glide. Okay, so what we saw there was the airplane went up very nicely, transitioned straight into the glide. Everything looked good, except once it was gliding, it was kind of flying a little nose down like this. So in that case, take a little bit of the clay off the nose. Because remember, we added a whole bunch of down elevator in there. And so that makes the airplane fly a little more nose heavy in the glide. The airplane's turned real tight, so I'm actually going to take out just a touch of that right rudder. So we're just bending it ever so slightly back. And now we'll fly it again. And by the way, when you're doing this, make sure your fingers are not touching any of those tail surfaces or you'll throw them off. Everything about that was perfect except for my launch. Since I launched it over real steep, the airplane just curved around and it didn't get high enough. So we're going to flatten that out and hopefully we'll be able to launch it up higher. Because you want to get as much altitude as you can without hitting the ceiling. And we're not launching very high. Ah, that was interesting. Alright, so if you notice, the airplane's all of a sudden coming over to the top. That means that this wood has a mind of its own and it's starting to relax back a little bit. So go in here and add some of that down elevator back in there. Increase the wood if you have to. That looks like it helped a little bit, not much. There we go. I'm going to take a little more right rudder out because we're still turning kind of tight. There we go. Nice and loose turn. I wanted to say the rules say you can pull all the way back to 35 centimeters. I hope that's true because I'm going to do it.
Basically, read the rules, make sure that
Yeah. That was terrible, but much better. Until you launch into sync. So as far as outdoor flying, that kind of is what you're going to get out of this. That last fly I pulled back to like 45 centimeters or something like that, which you know, lets you launch to a proper height. And then I launched into a downdraft, which is why it came down so quickly. So we've got the basic principles for trimming and flying these. As you can see, it glides very nicely, just doesn't launch very high, and that's because of the power restrictions here. Tiny little rubber band. So build, you know, once you've built this airplane, take it out and fly several flying sessions to make sure that the airplane is going to perform exactly as intended on the day of. Things you want to do, keep it away from humidity. So have a box that the airplane lives in with jigs that hold it here and maybe underneath the wings. You don't want anything to touch the trailing edges of the wings or the tail in any area. Nothing should be in contact with those areas, or it will change the settings on the airplane, and then when you arrive at the contest, the airplane will be out of trim, and you won't know what it's going to do, and you won't even make it to the semifinals where you build out an airplane. So you'll be in the, you know, below 20th place or whatever. So what you need to do is arrive with an airplane. You know what it's going to do because you've flown it before, you've stored it correctly, and you've spent a lot of time flying it, because this airplane, over the first few weeks of its life, the flying surfaces are going to kind of adapt to where you put glue and whatnot, and they're going to re-stress and move around, and so you want to make sure you know where those flying surfaces are going to be. So you need to have several flying sessions over a period of several weeks to know exactly what this airplane is going to do. If in doubt, build 2 of them. In the event that you arrive at the contest and there is an opportunity to sneak in a few flights beforehand without screaming bloody murder of somebody, you know, go out there and just hand chuck it or something, so you at least know what it's going to do. Don't risk getting disqualified, but some contests are run differently from others. Make use of every opportunity you've got so that you have the maximum advantage when you go into competition over those who have not prepared correctly, or those who are preparing using those opportunities. The person who gets a flight in and is allowed to get a flight in of trimming before the contest rounds will have a defined advantage over anyone who has not. So yeah, storage, build light. Don't build too light. Remember what the trouble I ran into back here. You know, I built too light, and I've got warps and whatnot that cause drag. That concludes the trimming video for the TSA floater, and we'll hope to see you at contests around the country. I will be at some of the Georgia contests, well, at the Georgia State contest, and we'll also be at TSA Nationals for 2020. So check this guy out. Hope you learned a little bit, either building from plans or building from a kit, and we'll see you later. Hi, I'm Josh Finn. This is Hope. We are J&H Aerospace.
If you like this video, hit the like button.
Also, how about subscribe to our channel and check out jhaerospace.com for new free flight products and all of the tooling that you'll need to build them.
Thanks for watching.